week, and then I'll answer any questions. Welcome to the Comic-Con Highway exiting near you. This is going to be for week ending April 26th to the 29th. It's a big show today. We have a lot going on. And as always, if you want to know where the exits are on our site, just go to the menu. In your cell phones, it'll be 3 dashes in the left corner of your screen. And just go to this week's exits. And we're going to examine those exits right now. In Italy, there's going to be an international Comic-Con called the Napoli Comic-Con at Lucina Francesconi. I know I'm saying that one wrong, but that one's hard. So they're going to be at the Napoli Comic-Con on the 28th. That's this weekend. Comic-Con Highway is also going to the Midwest, exiting with Julio A. Guerrera and Ben Miller, who will be at a small press and alternative comic expo, Space for short, on April 28th and the 29th. Now this one's huge. This we're gonna skip for right now because I actually have it entirely in itself. But for now, I'm just gonna give you the single points. We're gonna get into Philly real quick. I might double some names, but Philly's huge. So Sebastian Bonet is going to be there, and that's the 27th through the 29th in Philadelphia. The International Comic-Con also has an exit in Australia, where Sean Keenan is going to be at the Supernova Gold Coast Comic-Con this weekend. Also this weekend, and if you're in the northeastern part of the United States, back in the U.S., Jay Piscopo is going to be a guest star at Bar Harbor Comic-Con this weekend on April 28th, and they're going to have the original Batmobile there. That's kind of cool. And also an international, it's a very international week this week for us. In Canada, Dean Kish is going to be at the Calgary Expo Comic-Con April 26th to 27th. And just as a heads up, Gene Holly gave us some reasons this week to back DualSay. If you haven't checked out the DualSay Kickstarter, I really recommend it. Take the time. We put it in here especially for you guys to check it out while you're reading Where to Go this weekend and to see how you can support indie comics. Also in Great Philadelphia, we will see the Great Philadelphia Comic-Con. We will see James Eric Hodson, amazing creator of the dreaded Dinosaur Man, and someone I consider a friend. In Texas, Nick Garber. I don't know how to say your last name, Nick. I'm sorry. I think I'm getting a Garbera is going to be in booth 26th through 28th in Artist Alley. Go check out Nick and tell him I said hi. And ask him how to say his last name. He's going to be in, of course, the South Texas Comic-Con, or I think it's the South. Yes, the South Texas Comic-Con. Also, Jay Gillespie is going to be there, and he's going to be in booth 49. He's going to have his Severed Souls available there. Also, Eric Cockrell took the time to also fill out the 7 reasons to back duels, so I definitely suggest doing that. If you're from my hometown and you're watching this, you know about the comics and cards and stuff right behind the mall in Fort Myers. If you're not, and you're local and you're close enough, Tampa or maybe Naples, this is James Heck, creator of this of Solar Flare, which is based in Fort Myers, and the mall. I think the mall is also based in Fort Myers. I'm not 100% on that one. But he's going to have a signing event on April 28th this weekend. Also in Great Philadelphia, and again, we're going to go over this in a few minutes in very extreme detail. You're going to also see Chris Madd, Dirk Manning, Bob Sally, Josh Dahl, Johnny C, and more, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. And there is Chris Madd's. Also, if you're in the Midwest, in North Dakota, you'll have Rick Carman, who's going to iMagicCon in Minot, North Dakota. And Sebastian Bonet is going to be at the Philadelphia Comic-Con, April 27th through the 29th. And of course, we're going to check out the convention center in just a second. We'll actually have that load for us right now as we go to convention scene. In the meantime, we're going to talk about the Great Philadelphia Comic-Con. Let me tell you, just seeing the creators who are going, this is now on my radar to go in 2019. I'm actually kind of upset I didn't go. I am going to Fort Rock, so it would have conflicted. That's probably the reason it was off my radar. I deliberately didn't look for this weekend. So I'm going to a rock festival of sorts. It's going to be awesome. You guys will see it this weekend. But if you're not in Florida with me and going to the rock concert, this is the place to be, I think. The Great Philadelphia Comic Con looks amazing. It's going to have Chris Mad, Kevin Conrad, Dirk Manning, creator of Nightmare World, for those who don't know. And he created the book that I always talk about, How to Write and Wrong. It's all about writing. It's an amazing book. And it's WRIT, Right and Wrong. And it's an amazing book, and it definitely changed my life. And Stan Konopak, Mark McKean, Bob Sally, of course, from Salvagers fame. And Salvagers is looking to heat up the summer with another Kickstarter. Frank Gogol, Scott Starakaya. I'm sorry about the last names, guys. Norm Rapamund, Alexis Rivera. Of course, we talked about Eric Hudson, who will be there, and here's just a bigger shot of that. And he'll be at the Great Philadelphia Comic Con. It does look great. You got Mickey Fedler, Garrett Gunn. Of course, Garrett Gunn is one of the creators behind Source Point Press's release of the, I want to say Unboxables. I think that's the name. Ben Goldsmith, Josh Dahl, of course, who I've shared some tables with, is going to be there. Johnny C., Barnstormer with Josh Dahl, and a good friend of mine. Eric Cooper, Brian J.L. Glass, and it keeps going. Will Brimstone. I'm not going to try that last name. I'm sorry. And then Will Torres, great guy. So these are how many creators. And the ones that had pictures was just because we had them on file, literally by their name. And, of course, because I'm a co-collaborator with Eric, Eric gives me a lot of his stuff and tells me where he's going to be. So we put him on our background platform. But if you guys want that, feel free to ask. We're going to get into some information that I think I want to share with you guys as creators. But that'll be just for the creators at the end of the show. For now, we're going to head over to convention scene. We're going to check out everything going on that we didn't possibly cover. You guys just saw the creator Comic-Con Highway. Now let's move on to the entire Comic-Con Highway. In Wasatch Comic-Con in West Valley City, Utah, is going to be going on the 27th to the 28th. 27th to the 28th also has, of course, as we heard, the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo. Also the 27th to the 28th in Syracuse, New Jersey, is East Coast Comic-Con. I'm actually surprised Chris Mad's not doing that one, and he went with Great Philadelphia. I do understand, though, because Great Philadelphia is amazing. And it's going to be amazing from the 27th to the 29th. For those who did not hear, the Universal Fan Con did get canceled. There is no ETA. I was actually a backer of it, it turned out, and I was going to have to actually miss it. Believe it or not, I was going to miss the show for the rock concert because I was just going as a fan. I backed it on Kickstarter. So we'll keep you tuned in if we hear anything with it coming back. I don't know exactly what happened, but something happened. For the 27th through the 29th, the McAllen, Texas is going to host South Texas Comic-Con, which, of course, we just talked about a few minutes ago. Some great creators are going to be there from the creator Comic-Con Highway. In Boston, Massachusetts, it's going to be Boston Kids and Comic Fest on the 28th. Also on the 28th in Avon, Connecticut, we'll have AvonCon. On the 28th, also in Concord, New Hampshire. I think that NH is New Hampshire. Yeah, New Hampshire. Little Giant Comics Old School Comic Show. That's a tongue twister for you. Also on the 28th, of course, Bar Harbor is going to have Bar Harbor Comic Con. ME is, it's not Maryland, it's the other one. What is ME? Anyone know what ME is? I can't think of it all the time. I'm having like a brain moment. In Baltimore, Maryland, there's going to be the Y Comic Con? We Comic Con? I don't know how they want that said. That's on the 28th. Also on the 29th, it's going to have Raleigh's Comic Book Show. That's at the Hilton Garden in Raleigh, and that's going to be happening only on the 29th. Also, the 29th is going to be the Toronto Comic Book Show in Mesa, Arizona, is going to have the Acme, the Arizona Comic Mini Expo, in this. Apparently, its address is the Samurai Comic. That's on 5. Oh, that's 5/5. That's next week. We're going to get into that. What is ME? ME bothers me now. I'm just going to quickly check because I want to. I don't know why I can't figure out what ME is, and it's bothering me because I want to get it right. Just give me 1 second. ME state abbreviation is Maine. That's right. It's in Maine. I'm so not used to seeing Maine. That's why. There you go. So those are all the Comic-Con highway exits. For those who are just watching, I'm going to go on to more stuff for creators. You're more than welcome to hang out and listen to it. Otherwise, we'll see you next week at the Comic-Con highway. And really quickly, I just want to show you the creators Comic-Con highway again. We're just going to go quickly in reverse order, and we're just going to power through it. In the Great Philadelphia Comic-Con, you can see Sebastian Bonnet. In North Dakota, Rick Carman is going to be the iMagicon. Chris Madd is at the Great Philadelphia Comic-Con, along with Dirk Manning, Bob Sally, Josh Dahl, Johnny C., and a whole list more. We'll run through the list right before we switch topics. James Hack is going to be at the creator signing event at Comics and Cards in Fort Myers. Check out Duels on Kickstarter now. Also in Texas, you're going to have Jay Gillespie and Nick Garber. They're both going to be at the South Texas Comic-Con. Eric Hudson's going to be at the Great Philadelphia Comic-Con. Duels is an amazing comic book now on Kickstarter for you. In Canada, there's going to be Dean Kish at the Calgary Expo. In Maine, you're going to have Jay Piscopo, who's going to be a guest in Bar Harbor Comic-Con this weekend. Sean Keane is going to be in Australia at the Supernova Coast Comic. Philadelphia Comic-Con is going to have Sebastian Bonnet. I think that doubled. And Julio A. Guerrera and Ben Miller are going to be at Small Press Alternative. That's Space Comic Con. And just real quick, because Philadelphia was so huge, I just want to run down the list of names again. I'm just going to say them. Chris Madd, Kevin Conroy, Dirk Manning, Stan Konopake, Mark McKeon, Bob Sally, Frank Gold, Scott Starkaya, Norm Rapmund, Alex Rivera, Eric Hodson, Mickey Fiddler, and that's Alexis Riviera, by the way. I did Alex again. Sorry about that, Alexis. Garrett Gunn, Ben Goldsmith, Josh Dahl, Johnny C., Eric Cooper, Brian J.L. Glass, Will Brimstone, not going for that one, and Will Torres. I'm sorry, Will Brimstone. That's a big last name you got there, my friend. All right, so that's the Comic-Con highway. I hope you guys all enjoyed the show and the list. Now we're just going to go into some little information that I want to pass on to creators. So this information comes the way of, oops, that's not for you guys to read. This comes the way of when I ask one of these threads. So I ask everybody to kind of advocate for themselves, and I say, hey, tell me about your next Comic-Con exits. Where will you be, and are you tabling? And some people, and I'm not going to call anyone out, and we're gonna blow this up so we can actually just see this. All right, so I'm not going to blow anyone up, and this isn't about, oh, thank you. Steve actually on Instagram had said that it was Maine. Thank you, Steve. I didn't see that screen on Instagram. So when I ask you guys for this, and not just me, but anything else in the world, if you're going to talk about where you're going to be, you guys should be making art for the appearance. And I'll show you that Jay's actually got art. And whether he made it or not, I'm not exactly sure. He might be a guest, or he might have made it himself. But either way, he has art. Remember, you're always promoting yourself. If I'm asking you where you're going to be, you should be thrilled to talk to me about it. You shouldn't just be telling me one sentence. You should be also trying to link the event that you're going to, because by promoting the event, you're also promoting yourself. And you should also have the information down. You shouldn't say just, I'm going to be there in June. Act professional about it. And that's what this year is all about, professionalism. So when I have a Comic-Con event, just for me, and I'll show you guys on my site, Mr. Anderson, and I'm a little behind. I actually have to remove Daytona. because I still have Daytona up, and I just finished it, and I just remembered it's up. But you guys can see it, and I'm only behind, and these are the older ones, and I'll be putting up the next one, which is MegaCon, up on my site very soon. But here it is. Mr. Anderson's next appearance is in Daytona, an amazing Comic-Con, by the way. I'm very happy to do that. But look at how I do it. I always give you guys a template, a picture of it. I give you the information. If I put it online, I put it with information. When I do panels, I try to make a Facebook event page for it. I didn't do it with Daytona just because I was sick, honestly, or I would have done it. I just forgot. And I remembered when I was in Daytona starting to feel better. But other than that, I mean, you guys can see I promote these events, and I think you guys should be promoting them too, because remember, you want the event to be successful. Don't expect them to draw traffic. That's a big mistake. I'll tell you the truth. I went to a con, and I won't say which one, and the attendance was horrible. Some people who were there with me know exactly what I'm talking about right now. There were honestly less people in that event that'll be in the movie theater tonight watching Avengers with me, and that just tells you it's and it was a 3-day show, so that's scary numbers. Now here's the trick: despite how bad it was one of the top sellers at the event. No one was selling because no one was around. The reason I was a top seller at the event is people had seen me on social media talking about the event, so I had dragged in a group of people over the weekend that were there because I had said something, and they didn't just buy from me, they bought from other people. If I hadn't said anything, there would have been fewer people, which is bizarrely insane to even think about, that there were actually fewer people. I honestly can be honest with you, the entire time there were more vendors and creators and people behind a table than actual people who were there to see the show. Most of the people wandering were people who were at the show, and it was 3 days. Let's put it this way. I lettered a comic book while I was there. I lettered all of a comic book. And I can't say which comic books, then you might be able to tell which event it was. But yeah, I lettered one of my entire books while I was at a table. It's how dead it was. So I want you guys to remember that by promoting yourself, you could also be drawing attention to the event and having people not only spend money on you, but on your fellow creators. That's it. That's my advice. When I ask you guys to share something about yourself, share it. Advocate it. Don't be lazy. Don't just go, oh, I'm going to be somewhere in June. I think it's called like a Comic-Con. Don't be that person. Invest yourself. You know, take yourself seriously. Where am I going next? I'm going to MegaCon. I'm going to be there for 4 days. I have my table, which is coming out next week. I'll have my table number mixed in there. I've got my big placard. I tried to do a panel, but apparently it was all full. I don't know what was more important than my panel. And, you know, I'm going to be a little bit competitive when I see the panel list. I'll be like, mine's better than that. But, you know, so be it. Means more time at the table for me. So that's a good thing. I get to meet and greet people. But that's how I put things out there. And like I said, I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus here, but treat it more professionally. And this goes beyond my threads. And I'll be honest with you, it's a thing I see across the board. I honestly see people not taking their appearances seriously or their information seriously. You guys expect people to ask you questions and draw links out of you. I see people put up things about their Kickstarters constantly and not fucking link their Kickstarters. How do you drop that ball? Think of it that way. Every time you text something on social media that's about not just, you know, a random thought or you just reaching out and doing your fan business, which the fan business should be when you're showing your humanity to fans and just interacting with them over things. Maybe you're talking about an adventure movie. When you're not doing that and you're actually pitching something and you're actually trying to have a conversation with someone, take the time to link everything back to something. Link it back to your main page. Link it back to your personal website. Link it back to the project you're working on. Link it back to a fan page. It's something Paul Heyman said that I'll never forget. He talked about how he did one of these amazing promos. He was so proud of himself. He got back behind the curtain, and there was Dusty Rhodes, and Dusty Rhodes was just shaking his head, and he looked at Dusty. He's like, whoa, what's wrong? He's like, oh, you're great at talking, but what did you actually sell? And you have to think of that every time you're on social media. What are you selling? And I'm going to leave you guys to think about that. There is no news program tonight. I'm off to see Avengers. You guys will have a review tonight of Avengers from me. This has been This Week in Indie Comics. You guys can watch the news program, which is canned, and that we're done with our week's program. If you guys want us to advocate for you, of course. And the reason I said this has been This Week in Indie Comics, this is the last official show of the week. You guys will probably see some stuff from the rock concert, maybe something tomorrow, just as I'm getting ready to go to the rock concert called Fort Rock in Fort Lauderdale. Used to be in Fort Myers. Kind of sucks I have to travel now. Last year, I actually had a con during the show where I would have actually gone to it. I forgot which one it was, but it certainly wasn't worth missing the rock show. I remember thinking I wish I'd gone to the rock show instead. But I'm out of here. I'm going to go see Avengers. I hope you guys all do that. If you want us to advocate for you, remember to send us an email at Indie Advocates and tell us how we can advocate for you. My name is Mr. Anderson. Hit the Comic-Con highway this week and support indie creators by actually buying books from indie creators. Check out a local show also to show that comic books are not a dying art. We'll see you next week.